rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mike Barnes here.
Diana Fine here. Copy.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. I want to break protocols a little bit, and so I want to get this thing done with our history on Perry, by the way, got this supervisor, and basically is that myself and Eric Stewart, the legislator, Wells County legislator from this area, we met with the county officials about the crosswalks, about the pedestrian safety on Sandhook, on Main Street, Early Avenue, schoolhouse, and so forth. And so it was determined through a study that there's going to be crosswalks that we put on Early Avenue, Main Street, and Sandhook. Not necessarily on.
They're not going across Millbrook.
Not going across Millbrook. We have three there coming across this, so that's a plus. And they're just waiting on basically for warm weather to do the painting. The key thing is that where they end and they begin has to be a contained area. That's not private property, because you can't get off the crosswalk and then be on someone's property. And we make sure that the area around it is outside of that fence that more or so that can be done. The second thing we talked about was on Schoolhouse Lane and also on Old Main Street, putting a crosswalk there. And we were given a go-ahead on two conditions. You need signage saying there's a crosswalk coming through there. You need it on the north side, on the east side of Schoolhouse Lane, north side and south side of Main Street. You need to have those signs there. The sign is fairly large. The problem with that is that you have to, and I have to ask Matt Jankowski, you might have to get approval from the Hurley Preservation Committee to allow that happening there. The second thing about that, we have to do ADA compliance. We have to do cutouts on the side that the sidewalks. And I spoke to Mike Schultes. Well, I haven't yet spoken to him, but I will speak to him. And if that happens, we can get that. I know it's money. We can get that cutout put there and so forth. And that's going to happen. The third thing discussed by was Sandhook about the drainage ditches. All right, and they have decided to put drainage ditches on both sides of the road. Now, on the north side where the cemetery is, they had to do ground radar to identify graves that are there. And they found some that are abutting, getting close. We need 4 feet because the pipe itself is 36 inches. So you need 4-foot diameter, width more or less there. They will pave it. All right. Will they put sidewalk there? No. Will they put curbing there? No. Will they paint it? Meaning, like people shouldn't be driving there. That they will. But it's not going to stop you from driving there, more or less. On the south side, all right, on the side of the houses there, they are going to put drainage there also. All right. There's one condition now. There is the Rolling Meadow Water Company has their pipes there. Talking to Jeff Vogt and Josh Vogt, they would like to move that. The reason being very simply is because it's under wires, and under the wires there, and if they do any kind of digging and so forth, it could interfere with the wires there. So so it has to be moved there. And talking to them, they want to move it, and the county has said they can do it anywhere on the road. They can dig up the road, put it in the road, as long as they replace and fix it, go inside. They can put it on the other side where the cemetery is, and that aspect of it forever. But they have been allowed to do that. What needs to be done is now that the county engineers with the town engineers and with Mike Schultes are going to meet to discuss minor details going through. So basically what we asked for, I would say 95% we got. We didn't get the sidewalks, we didn't get the curbing, but we got at least a walking path there where people aren't going to have to walk on the road and, dodge traffic. So we got that at least at that. Maybe later on we can work a little more, Julian, and see exactly if we can get curbing, at least curbing on that area. I know that I don't do one, and I agree with you on that thing. But again, we got this much so far. Schoolhouse, yeah, it definitely is. The school zone. In August 15th of 2024, we, the town board, declared that to be a school zone. And because it's a school zone, we now have the right route. We can put signage up, first of all, this is a school zone. We can also, the speed limit can be lowered for what we want to do. Now, the question is, who does the lowering? Is it the county or is it town? We are pushing for the town. You're allowed to do that and go from there. Now, the interesting aspect of it, that schoolhouse zone is 1,500 feet in diameter, quarter of a mile around the school. So that entails a schoolhouse lane, that entails Millbrook, Zandhook, Main Street, 209. Also, and if we're allowed to lower the speed limits, well, we are going to be pushing for, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they said that it's up to the town to lower the speed limit. But in the schoolhouse zone, I'm sorry, in the school zone, you can go down as far as the lowest 15 miles per hour. That'd be nice having 209 going through 15 miles. Well, I'm just saying that, you know, for the first time since I've taken, the first time since I've been on the town board, have I seen movement from the county. I know the fact that this landhook issue is years in the coming. We're making headways. We're making headways here, and you know, it is basically, there's a lot of people pushing it. Eric Stewart was one of them. Debbie Dougherty was another one that pushed this thing.
And the safety,
And the
the whole
safety-
safety committee.
was done that and so forth. And now that they, you know, the thing is though, what I feel is that we are talking, they are listening. And I think we're going to get things done more or less. So I really want to commend Safety Committee, Eric. You know,
Definitely Eric. Eric has been instrumental in supporting us in this. It's really pushing hard. And he's working hard for all of us. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
well, yeah, so and this is great. And we are going to meet again with the county. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to pin them down for a date. All right. When is the crosswalk can be put in? All right. And we are going to be pushing. And we are going to be pushing for crosswalks mid-block on Main Street at Schoolhouse Lane. So we'll be pushing for that. In the beginning, they didn't like that. But again, we need to get approval from, I don't know, we need approval from the Early Preservation Committee with signage on Main Street.
You don't need signage. Yeah, it's basically for, our preservation code is not going to apply necessarily to signage. It applies to private property, it applies to structures and making external changes.
One of the most interesting aspects of it, where the four corners are, with Main Street, Zandhook, Millbrook, and Hurley, if you meet there, there's no need for signage there because it's a four-way stop sign. So there's no need for putting signage there, but in the middle of Main Street, we need to have signage there going through there. So the county has said they can order the signs for us, smaller signs more or less. So we're gonna push for everything, you know, once they say something, we grab it. We don't hold back. And you get it now, you won't get it later. Yeah, so we're gonna go after that very strong. Okay. All right, I'm done with that. I think that's all.
Yeah,
Eric,
you wanna-
I was just gonna add that, you know, we're pushing the county for 2 meeting dates. One of them would be between town engineers, Superintendent Schultes, and any members of town board and the safety council, who would want to attend a meeting to discuss the drainage. And we want to be sure that the county and the town are on the same page, with the drainage that's coming from the culverts on Zandvoort, where that's going to empty out. So we're pushing for that meeting. And of course, we're also pushing for the meeting, of the roundtable discussion, where we have, the county, the deputy county executive, the commissioner of public works, and the gentleman from the traffic safety council. Brian Slack, yes. So, and that will be held here. We just don't have a date for that yet, but we're hoping, well, you know, we'd hope to have it in February. And then because these studies were not completed, that date was pushed back. So, now we're hoping to have it in April.
You know, it's interesting also, I read the study that came out, the plan came out on the pedestrian crosswalks there, and according to the here, that the areas that we want the crosswalks, we're not entitled to because of low pedestrian traffic, but we insisted. And the county has complied. and they're gonna put it down and all that stuff. What it is, it takes a lot of gumshoe from everybody here. I know the fact that, reading all the threads of the emails coming through, like the people in that area, you guys were pushing at it real hard, and we were pushing at it this, and also, and like, we didn't, then they did, yeah. So like, I think that's something we can do, and it's a good precedent because we have to do things, and now we can push things and get things done, accomplished through here. So, and I do all.
And County Executive Metzger wanted to be sure that everyone was aware that the county's investing $2 million in this project of drainage on Xanadu Road. So,
See, here's the thing also, Julian, for you, in order to put sidewalks down, that's the cap. I know that Mike Schultz wants price sidewalks down there. It's $1 million.
Just curious to have a pedestrian study that says there's nobody walking when there's no room for people.
That's what we say. That's exactly what we say.
People don't drive when there aren't roads.
I know that. I know that.
So it's a bit silly.
Well, they put it this way, they didn't complain about the drainage or putting the pavements on the sides of Xanadu. Where the crosswalk being scheduled, put down there, that's what they're saying, is not enough pedestrian traffic going on. There's enough pedestrian traffic going on there. Jen Metzger got a little upset with me because I complained about that when there's the fatality on Rosendale on State Route 32, and she was down there fighting tooth and nail against the state. And yet when we had almost a fatality at Xanadu, she wasn't there. So we made that point clear that this is a preventative. It's not a reaction to anything that's down there. So
they also responded saying, as Supervisor Rollins mentioned, that the studies didn't show the foot traffic to warrant this stuff. And our response was, well, people don't walk there because they're scared to walk.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So,
and we also put the paint down. That's a problem. But once again, hey,
Thank you, Eric.
so it's a work in progress, but we are definitely making progress.
Thanks, Jen, for the $2 million. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yes, we both expressed our appreciation.
Is there guardrails going up along the cemetery side so people don't drive into the cemetery?
The current plan does not call for guardrails.
you see, the thing with guardrails, that's
That's the only thing that kept them out of the
I
cemetery.
know. But the thing is, though, one of the problems they're talking about, guardrails are quite big down. Cemeteries, the graves are right. We're putting the ditches right now, culverts is going to almost touch some of those graves there.
And the
we
other
actually
thing
said,
is,
the people that are very, they're not going to walk.
That's what they mind when they buy new headstones.
I was going to say that those studies will be made available to the public. So, if you guys want.
Well,
copies-
I already heard.
So if you want copies, let me know and we can distribute those.
Yeah, I just got it.
Thank you.
Or better yet, we'll just distribute to the site.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Thank you.
we are gonna post this, we're gonna put this on the website tomorrow,
Okay.
coming through here, so,
Give me what you give me.
okay,
Perfect.
all right, okay. I make a motion to open public comment,
I'll
period
second.
number 1,
Second.
discussion? No, favor?
Aye.
Okay, I think Tim, you're on there.
I'll do Tim's first vote.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is?
Tim's first.
Can everybody hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Tim Kelly, Griffin Drive here in Hurley. Just want to applaud this town board for putting a resolution tonight on the agenda, resolution to conduct a financial audit of the town. During the years of 2022 and 2023, I'm glad that the town is, looking into the significant overspending, persistent misuse of dedicated capital funds, non-payment of town bills, dismissal of the standing accounting agency, lack of detailed financials for a 6-month period in 2023, the reduction in fund reserves here at the town, misleading information showing account surpluses when accounts were actually in the negative, and the inability to conclusively reconcile Hurley's financials by 2 outside accounting sources during this time frame. That's pretty serious. And I came before the board, of which none of you, you were on it then, in November of 2022, to urge fiduciary caution on the board at that time, looking from an outside perspective then, like I could smell something was up. And clearly, something was up. And I'm glad that we're finally doing something about it and getting to the bottom of it. So I'd like to applaud this board, and I hope you all vote for it. Thank you.
Next thing.
We're gonna, Tim, further discussions later, we can talk about this resolution. Anybody else on the list there?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Chris, what's your last name?
Zanos.
Is that
Yes, I was
is that
just
an S
wondering,
or a Z?
pardon me?
Z.
Z. Zanos, Zanos.
Who's changing the S, Nanos?
Yeah, that's me. You don't want me here, no. I just wondered, I'd like to streamline, I have two pieces of property on Sandhook that join each other, and I'd like to take the middle line away and make it one piece of property, because I want to put a carport up, and instead of going through all the, you know, the rigmarole of the building permit and all that, I can make it one piece of property, and it'd be better with taxes anyway for me. But is there any way I could just take that line away?
You can.
I mean,
You
without
can, the
getting,
town can't.
well, no, I know, but without getting it surveyed, I own both outside lines and the middle line. I just want to erase it.
You need to reach out to the planning department or the building department and they'll give you, they'll tell you what is required for a lot authorization.
It could be done. It could be done. But it, you know, but it involves some paperwork. It has to be that way.
Okay,
It can't be done.
okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, okay. Maybe you can help me.
Okay. Yep, anybody else want to speak?
Make a motion to close.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Okay. All right, town clerk's report. You don't have a copy, do you? It wasn't being, okay, we don't need it though, because the last,
But they gave up the profit and loss.
well, that's not it. That's not it. That's my report. What it is basically is that, Lynn Bailey, who's out on medical leave, gave us a town clerk's report at the last meeting. So it's on the website, it's there, so if you look at it, and so forth.
It was approved,
It was approved. All right, supervisor's report. You have in front of you somewhere, you have here basically the financials, you know, that's required. It's actually a draft of it. We're still waiting on putting other things onto here, but this basically tells you all the profit, all the revenues coming in, all the expenditures going out, and also has all the budget lines, what the balance is as of today, going through it. So again, this will be put online.
I'll put this up tomorrow on the website.
Right, and what's gonna happen basically is that once we get the completed one, which is like 95 pages per each month, we'll put it on the website. But this is the crux. This is the crux of, you know, of what's needed, more or less. Kind of do that.
I believe it's to the end of February.
This goes into February. We haven't done March yet, because March is.
So it's not up to.
Well, it's up to date. We can't do March. It's March.
No, I know what you're saying, but it's not up to date.
It's up to
today.
month.
It's up-
Not to the end of.
To the end of February.
Right.
Thank you, Wendy.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay. Next up. Building department report. Bring that up.
I have that up, sure. There you
Do you
go.
wanna, Paul? Do you wanna talk about this?
There's not a lot to say. The revenue is a little early to tell, small sampling, but we projected to hit the target amount. And as I put at the bottom, there's a disparate number of permits that were closed against permits issued. And that's because of the backlog of outstanding expired permits, which historically have just been allowed to lapse.
Okay. Take my copy?
She doesn't have, I don't get it. I don't get that. She didn't
I'll
get
get it. Wendy, can you do me a favor? Make a copy of
I
the,
have copies. What do you need?
okay, this is the, profit and loss budget versus actual January through February of 2025. There you go. Another one? Diane, Okay. Assessors report? No.
Oh, there it
All right,
is.
here's the assessors report for the month of, February. Okay.
Nothing trouble, sorry.
All right, presentation right now, and this is Deputy Supervisor John Perry talking about the transfer station.
Yeah, so I had a situation where we wanted some outlets replaced at the transfer station shed where the gentlemen are up there at their lunch, all of our cameras, things of that nature. So when I saw the photos, I reacted quickly and I requested that our building department go up and take a look at what's going on up there exactly. Following through, Paul, our building inspector, recommended that this facility be shut down and no longer be used. And I would request that this be done tonight as far as board, completely removed, have them start moving into the trailer so they can start functioning out of the trailer. Decide after that what we're gonna do with the shed, replace it, whatever you guys decide to do. But at this point in time, this is a danger to these folks and it should not be in that shed. Happens to be, it's getting warmer out, so the shed is not necessarily the heating, area right now. So, this is a good time for us to deal with this. Unfortunately, it had to come up in the severity, but, let's move on this.
Debbie and I were out there this afternoon, looking at
Okay,
it, and we tried to work out an arrangement with the trailer.
okay.
Would be
There's
utilized,
definitely
but
going to be a few challenges there.
Okay.
So the steps, number one, people to have to go up the steps.
Mhm.
Certainly not ADA compliant.
So the shed that we had, priced out, I think might be the same thing, it's roughly about 7,000 and change, plus the build out, that we can look into, to make it, to get an insulated, electric going and everything like that, so they can operate. It will probably cost a little over 10,000. So if you feel that we can potentially make that trailer accessible for that or less, then, that's where we should start thinking now.
Okay.
well, we walked up there and so forth, and as much as I wanted to use a trailer there, it's not feasible at all because you have to walk up the stairs. And if you have anybody that, has
So we
issues.
need
There's
shed.
a gate, and there's a gate, the gate
What?
swings the
So we
wrong
need
way.
shed.
Yeah, yeah.
I went up there trying to convince myself and Debbie and that use the trailer. I convinced myself you can't use the trailer.
Or
That's fine.
without, at least without definitely modifications.
Okay, so I'm going to move forward then with, I have the specs for the shed. I'll have Paul move forward and see potentially what the build out would be on it. And in the meantime, we should get them out of there and at least,
Well, what we said to them is like, we would like you to go with the trailer.
they have to go, they have to get out of the shed. So they have to make do with the trailer for a little
Yeah,
while.
yeah,
So we
so,
have to make it a remote system. We have to change our credit card system where it's, we have a, wireless remote type of situation.
well, what they're gonna have to do is now, they're gonna reverse the flow of traffic. Where the entrance is.
How it was
the egress.
before COVID.
Right, way over before. And go that way, and then they have to stop at the bottom there, and then pay.
Yeah, because they need to be out of that shed.
Yeah, well, that's what we say. In fact, we gave, your, report there, and they're gonna post it on the door. And,
Well, as soon as they vacate, I'm gonna post the building not to be occupied.
They're gonna
I just thought
vacate
it was a little premature now.
Maybe you should go up there and look at the trailer also from a standpoint of the public has to have access to
what can
that.
be done?
So let's make sure that's safe as well.
I did look at it last fall and the stairs do need to be upgraded. The building doesn't have to be compliant with the accessible regulations existing.
So we're thinking like a ramp or something potentially instead of stairs, have a ramp.
Yeah, we talked about a ramp, but it's
You can
pretty
use it, but you have to
steep.
understand something, with an accessible route, it doesn't just work that way. It's from the parking spot, which has that signage in the discharge aisle, into the primary use buildings and the bathroom. It's physically impossible, you can't do it.
Right.
So to have a ramp, to have it more convenient for a person with a disability would obviously be beneficial, and I would recommend that, but you cannot make the entirety compliant with accessibility regulations. It's just not feasible.
No, but we have to make it safe.
Yeah, the stairs are not
So I
safe.
think you just.
Stairs are not safe.
Well, we're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way.
That's what I'm
One
saying,
half dozen
is
the other.
we could look at
If
that as
there's a
well.
fire, something happens to those gentlemen, we are in.
Okay.
I totally agree with
So
you. there.
having people, have them walk out and come down to somebody that's disabled to do what they need to do as far as
It's
taking money
easier,
to credit
it's
cards, then we have to do that.
Right. What happened was when Javier called me up, they said there's a whole new roof, among other things. So I sent Patrick up there to look at it. He fixed it, and then he sends me an email saying, these outlets need to replace. I said, yeah, I said that. I said, don't touch them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Please don't touch them. And then you got involved, which is good. So if you can call tomorrow somehow, you can go up there and just check to see what can be done with the trailer to make it compliable for people to be there in a sense. And if not, then the next day we'll go and look at Brad Barnes for a shed.
Okay, but you want that taken care of tomorrow as far as the trailer?
I would like that. I would like to get them out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, of course.
All right, and they were willing to do that temporarily. Okay.
Yeah, they're willing to get out, and they should get out. Absolutely. We
So,
just have to think of the logistics on how it's gonna work, that's all.
I mean, like Tim just said, I mean, like I said earlier, you just have the palm held credit card readers.
Yeah.
Go outside, you swipe it. No one even has to go to the steps.
Yeah.
Go to the car. And this is a situation that
Yeah,
you walk right out to the car.
Right.
They can say, okay, thank you,
That's a better
check, credit card, whatever it is. You don't even have to go to the trailer. For now,
Just need to establish the,
right.
Yeah.
We're taking, I think that's new some type of new regulations until we figure out what we're gonna do.
yeah, that shed is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also we have the little booth, thank you. That needs to be looked at also.
Yeah.
But it's not an electric hazard. But
Michael?
When you're done with the transfer station, I just have one thing to go back to about the financial reports that you had in there. Because you left out the superintendent's report, which is my warrant that I put every month.
Did
And,
you get that, Wendy?
I made sure that when Michelle brought it down this week, that she gave me copies for all the board members and gave them to Samara.
I didn't see it. Michelle had it in her hand. She walked out after she gave me the vouchers. I don't know where it went from there.
I think it's important to note that my report wasn't taken into the town board, but by law, by town decree, I have to give a financial report every month, and I've done that every single month. It has been making it into your hands. I don't know where the last was, but we have all the ones that I've submitted over the years since I became superintendent. All superintendents always did. Our monthly warrant is our report to the board of all our expenditures. So I just wanted to duly note that for the minutes because
that's important. You know the stuff that Michelle brought up?
I have no idea. They went in tomorrow's office. I have no idea.
Oh, Samara.
Yeah. We found all the past ones.
we produce those before every town board meeting every month. I sign off on it and date it and send copies down.
Okay, we got,
I've been doing it every month for every year that I've been in office.
So then which brings me
My
to
John brought it to my attention. He hadn't seen it in quite a while, so I don't know where.
so were you gonna vote on these financials tonight?
we can.
I mean, if not, you got at least partially, you can vote on the warrants, because these are,
They're fine.
When we used to have the old mailbox in that room, it had a mailbox for every board member and every elected official now. We used to put them in there so everybody was always able to get them. Now I don't know what to do. If you want, I can email a copy of it to everybody so that you get it. I don't know how you want to proceed. But an original copy has to go to the supervisor.
you can table.
File
We
with the county clerk.
We can vote on this.
We can table it to next one.
We can vote on that.
It's up to you. If you reviewed it enough, you feel comfortable.
I did.
We're gonna have this tracks against the budget though, right?
He doesn't have that. There's no balance on this one. Let's hold this till, the agenda meeting. We can look at this thing carefully.
Debbie, if you're talking about what's on his warrant list. So Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that warrant list is attached to the vouchers that you just brought me for this meeting.
For both, we bring you back twice
Twice
a
a
month.
month, yes, correct.
First ones we put on a warrant, we don't bring a warrant down. We don't
Yeah.
bring a warrant down until the town, before the town board meeting.
Correct. So what you guys are looking at is the vouchers that Mike submitted for the month of March. Those are not included in the reports that you have. Because again, you only have January and February, just to make that clear.
So this has also the vouchers for this month, although it's not on.
Correct. Yes.
What I would recommend,
Yes, you can line up with it.
what I would recommend is that you table it, you take January, February, now March, review it, and then prove all of them.
I agree.
Okay, you went now, we gave out, January, February, last during the agenda. Have you guys seen it, Joe? You have it, right? They want us from, August and January, February? I gave it out on, at the, Michael, do me a favor for the, January, February, could you just email it to me and I'll pass it on to the rest of the board? January, February?
You have the signed copy that the town
I have the signed copies got handed over to the town clerk. I don't know where they went.
clerk should have my signed copies. All of them.
Okay.
They're
I'll
supposed to keep the original copy that I signed,
Yes.
and then there's 7 copies made from that
Okay.
for everybody sitting there, and plus Wendy's now added to that as the bookkeeper. And that is my report every month.
Well, Mike,
And you only get it on the Friday this month, because Michelle's sick for 3 days. Didn't get it till yesterday, but only it's here on Friday.
The other one sitting that's town clerk. is also
So
on
the
that.
town clerk has all my signed copies and vouchers on
Okay.
file.
I will look for them tomorrow.
Thank you, Wendy.
No problem.
We want,
For the in-house bookkeepers, I brought them down to the town clerk. Town clerk would index all vouchers, and we would give her 6 copies back then of the warrant, and she would place them in the mailboxes of all the town board members.
right,
They took the mailbox out of there, so then I don't know what the process was, but I always brought the town clerk, then I started bringing them to the bookkeeper prior to Wendy. I don't know what happened to them.
all right, so here's the thing, so we have these monthly financials right now. We can actually hold on to these and not vote on it yet, we could table till the next one, so you can compare and go through it. But this is the first time you got to see it. All right, so let's hold on to the agenda meeting in April, and then we'll vote on it in April. And maybe by then, we'll get the completed ones, we'll throw the checks and so forth.
That's on your account, not on me. You have everything.
Was there April the eighth?
First Tuesday,
Second Tuesday, 8th. Yeah.
all right, so we'll table this till April 8th.
And just so you know, those warrants are how I manage the budget, my budget.
To get back to the trail, the transfer station and the issues there. So, I would recommend that we remove the employees as soon as possible, set up new procedures in order for them to take funds from the folks that are coming in.
Yep.
And in the meantime, we work on either utilizing the trailer or getting a new shed.
And what do we have to do to do that? Do we need a resolution or you're gonna take
Now,
care
this
of
is an
that?
emergency situation. You guys can just,
We can do it right away.
Who's gonna do it? You're gonna do it or
I'm gonna do it.
you're gonna do it? Okay.
All right. But I like the idea of Tim with the handheld,
yeah.
that solves the problem.
The phone type stuff.
Right.
Call your credit card processor and ask them for
Yeah,
like
that solves the problem.
just a terminal that's portable that has a battery in it, so they can just unplug it from the juice, bring it outside, hooks up wirelessly, and you can plug it back in and go back in.
Let's do that.
I can give you, yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than $10,000.
Get 2 of them, that way
Yes. Okay, I think that's a great idea. This way he'll walk up to the car itself.
Right.
You don't have to get out. Thank you, Tim.
Sounds good.
Okay, old business.
Thank you, Paul. Helping them.
Yeah, sure. Right. Did you?
It says it's been updated.
No, I think that's the title of it, is the updated
Oh,
ethics disclosure form. So,
It's in there.
oh, I got you, okay. But you never had
no,
enough.
no, it's not. Changed since last time. Our last.
We do have it.
It's not in the packet.
It's not
Okay,
changed from.
it hasn't changed from last time. You have it up there,
I don't, because it's not in the packet.
all right, you all had a chance to look at it?
Yes.
You know, there was a suggestion here, by Joe Passione, which I think is a great idea, is that we had the town board planning board, zoning board, board of ethics also, fills out those forms. They will then put in this, seal it in an envelope, sign their name to it, put in the safe, and only open when necessary.
So we keep the information private.
Actually owned by the ethics board.
So the ethics board, I don't know what procedures they have in place, but under the statute, they would create whatever internal procedures that they would want.
To make sure that's
And
created so that,
definitely it should be kept.
and everybody's gonna know,
Yes.
hands off,
Well, it's only 4 boards that need to do it. That's planning board, town board, zoning
But
board,
there's
and
anything-
ethics.
No, there's
That's-
quite a few people that our local statute does require in addition to those board members. So, if you want to pull up our local statute right now.
But you're saying the process that they use needs to ensure privacy.
and everybody's gotta be aware of it, and everybody's gotta be aware of that.
Yes. Yeah, I believe, Matt's gonna have a meeting with, Joe Passion, and together they're gonna work out like the process and everything.
Did you guys have that meeting with the town, with all the town people?
So chapter 17, section 7 lists everyone under our statute. I should be able to bring that up. Required to fill out these forms. Chapter 17, ethics and disclosure, section 7.
So it's, yeah. So those are the people who would be subjected to it.
So several of those positions don't exist. And they
Like police chief.
might be at some point, you guys might want to update. Get rid of police chief, those are the 80s.
We just found, hold on.
I'm gonna say the
Yeah,
same.
we just found, the police uniforms in the attic of the old library. You can fit on that. Yeah.
But Phil still can wear it, too. It's not changed.
It's in there, in the code, for information of constables.
Okay.
Committee chairs are not in.
Not all committees.
Looks like,
Planning,
those are the only
zoning, board of assessment. Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
and ethics.
And the ethics board, of course.
And the town council.
Town boards, yeah, supervisor and town board, planning, zoning, assessment, and the ethics board.
Yeah, and technically under, the general municipal law, you guys are, as elected officials, have to. Disclosure.
I spoke to the, Association of Towns about this thing, and I showed them this. I said, this is an abbreviated form, but the one that we had in the past, the one page, was insufficient.
Right.
And this is something.
And they've been doing it in other places.
Yeah, right. Every town's been doing it, so, so I think we have the policy. So,
Yep.
all right, so, basically you'll meet with Joe Passion.
Yeah.
And discuss it.
Are we passing this? Is that, or are we just discussing it?
We have,
We have to pass.
There was a resolution last month, I thought it would get
both of those.
that reviewed it last month.
We passed it last month? That's lovely.
No, we tabled it.
Tabled it.
But I just say,
You guys did have a meeting with all the town employees that week after. Did you guys do that? or
That's
no?
this week.
It's this week.
It's tomorrow, I think, right?
It's 27th.
Okay.
This is,
Give me a moment.
ended.
No, that's. Yeah,
That's it.
right. Yeah, that meeting with employees is Thursday.
So we can pass this right now.
Yeah. I'll make the motion that we pass this right now.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So Mike, you would have Samara, that list, take that list, everybody that's on that list gets a cut, it's an email copy of what the application is, and make it state on the email. Anybody that's on this is getting an email because you're supposed to fill this out.
And then who
Keep it
keeps-
simple,
Is it the town clerk that keeps up with it?
It's gonna have to, well,
They're submitted to the town clerk, they're kept in
But like,
the
who's
clerk's.
to make sure that everybody's filling it out?
Well, that's the duty of the ethics board. The ethics board is the one that takes those and makes sure, well, that's one of their duties, is they have to meet at least once a year to review the financial disclosures, make sure that they are all submitted.
Okay, well, I don't think the ethics board's not gonna be able to make sure everybody has it filled out. I think that we have to designate somebody else to make sure everybody has it before we give it to the ethics board. They don't have access.
let me ask you a question. So what happens if somehow, it's being sealed, right? When someone seals a blank one,
Well, that's, the ethics board is supposed to open, the seal is just,
okay,
so it gets there, the ethics board is supposed to open them,
then we
go
seal it.
through them and make sure that, one, that, they've been submitted, two, that it's completely filled out, and if there's anything, the ethics board doesn't have to go through too much, but if they do see something that looks like a potential conflict of interest, bring that to the.
And Judy is a past. Make sure everybody filled out that abbreviated form. So I think you have to have somebody that's in charge of making sure that everybody fills out the form before the ethics board gets involved. Because they don't have access to it, so they're only meeting once a year.
So
Make sure
whenever they
the
came
email
in,
has the
anybody that
instructions
came
too, that they're supposed to fill them out,
But somebody's gotta be-
put them in a sealed envelope and where they're supposed to.
so there's a large vote in clerk's office.
So-
Everybody's supposed to sign once they become elected or appointed or whichever. At that point in time, they received that letter, fill out the application. It then went into the file. So those are two things you're supposed to be doing, or they're supposed to be doing. That's how we always do it.
Yeah, well, there's definitely the statutory requirements where the clerk receives them and then provides them to the ethics board.
Right.
Put in a sealed envelope.
Yes, the clerk doesn't open them, the ethics board.
Right, so you need to make sure the instructions are.
So most municipalities that I'm aware of have a list of people who have those positions. So basically a list, a checklist. Okay, 5 members of the town board.
Well, somebody, right, somebody's gotta have that.
7 members
Yes.
of the ZBA, other stuff. And then as they come in, they sign, like they've given it to the clerk's office. The clerk keeps them in the safe, and then they're only provided to the ethics board when the ethics board is looking to review, and the ethics board opens them, make sure they're complete, and make sure there's no potential violations. And a failure to submit it is a violation of the code, so. They really should be reviewing them all and then sending out letters, basically warning letters to the people who failed to submit, saying that you need to submit this, otherwise you're not.
Okay, all right. I will call you tomorrow to update that. Okay, can we pass this?
Yes,
Yes.
you just voted.
We
Okay,
just
good.
voted.
All right. Okay. I almost want step up. All right, update on 44 Main Street. The roof, oh, okay. We have done the first part of the old library. Now it's called the Hurley Heritage Community Center. The roof is put on and the chimney was removed. We now have the renovation plans in place. We're just tweaking it just a little bit. And then probably by the end of this week, hopefully, you'll have an RFP out to get that work done properly. All right, and the thing is, I was talking to Ed about this thing. What we want to do there, which I think is a great idea, is instead of having all these committees meet here in town hall, meet there. Like maybe the planning board too, even the ZBA, because right at this point right now, when there's meetings going on here, there's court going on.
Well, the problem is parking. There's no parking over there.
They can park in the around.
And what? Yeah, park in the library.
So there's a small lot in front of the building.
Very, very small. So I mean, small to me.
Smoke, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking
But
about.
I mean, our town meeting, much as I would like to do that, you're not gonna do
No, no,
that.
town meetings has to be here. I need to be close to my office to get all the stuff I need.
Right.
No, town meeting said, I'm talking about like a CRC, CAC. More
But
committee.
even like the planning and zoning, we've got 7 members plus the public. You
No,
don't,
no, you can have it.
you don't, yeah, you don't have enough spots.
Well, like meetings that don't require public audience.
Yeah.
We can do that, yeah. Let's utilize that, and let's supposed to do that. And so basically is like we have this money, question to ask the board here, so far. We have the grant for $375,000. Do we need to put that in the capital H fund?
You can put it in this type of reserve account, so you're ready to use it. Doesn't have to be an H fund. It's stipulated for what you're using it for.
Okay.
So as long as it stays in that reserve account, based on that, you don't have to establish.
I just want to make sure that it's,
And if you want to establish an H account for, is this for the library, your library?
the old library.
If there already one exists. You already have an H fund.
We did that when we
Yeah,
started.
I think
Oh, right, we
it's
put 100,000 in there.
31 H, I
Right.
believe.
We put out, so
Right.
31 H, I believe.
we can actually move it in there then.
Feel like-
Right.
Okay, all right. All right, the next thing here is Gallus Point. Gallus Point, put that picture up.
There it is.
All right, this is interesting.
Well, we'll get you the full map, but go ahead.
This is Gallus Hill Point. It's on Station Road. It's on off of Hurley Mountain Road here.
There's the full map.
Okay, and what it is basically, Gallus Hill Point borders on kind of Ulster. There's a project going on. Project being requested is to, these are all trailers on both sides of the border of Ulster and of Hurley. There are more trailers and more sites there on the Hurley side than there is on the Ulster side. And what it is basically is what they want to do is renovate the entire thing. What they want to do is they want to put modulars there. You know, and what they want to do is they want to put two modulars in right away, move people from two homes into the modular, remove their trailers, put a modular down there in place, and then move them back. And then the next two, keep doing that the whole time going through there. They have received funding from the state over the entire course there. What they are in need from us is they are asking us for a pilot. All right, and the pilot is it's a 40-year pilot. That's the only thing that I see is it's a down on that thing. But what it is, they're gonna start off paying in lieu of taxes, they're gonna start paying off whatever the current tax rate is now here. We'll start that, and every year, 40 years, they will increase it by 2%. In that sense. I spoke to Jim Quigley, and we spoke to, who's the owner of that place? Not Joseph, no. Leibold. Keith Leibold owns the area there. And when we spoke to Keith Leibold, we said that we, meaning Hurley and Ulster, we do together. Whatever's Orchard to Ulster, or to Hurley, it's the same thing. It's the same kind of thing. Ulster has agreed to the pilot. They had passed it. It is now in the planning board's stage, going through it, and now waiting for us. So we have here, I think it's in here already. It's the,
I didn't see it.
hang on.
My problem is this, if he's getting it funded by the state, why does he need a
One
plan?
less minute. One less minute.
So, yeah, this is just for review. There's a lot there, and I do not recommend that this be voted on.
No, it's not me voting on, no. I just want to inform you people, and did you get that? Email? I must have emailed that to everybody.
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay, I will email that. I will email that to all of you to look at and all that.
That'll be my problem, it's not costing the guy anything anyway, why?
Well, here's the thing, it is costing something, but the funding he requested is getting, he didn't ask for total funding, but the funding that he wanted, which is not the entire cost.
So explain it back
So it's-
again what the pilot is.
Pilot is payment of lieu of tax. They stand for. So instead of paying taxes, the current rate, they pay a set fee every year.
Meeting is right, it's to encourage. It's to encourage housing for housing crisis to address housing issues.
That's why he's getting the grants from the state.
So that's
Taking people, those rundown trailers that are up there, they're bringing in new mods so that they can live longer and better conditions. And then offer them a set price by the state, because the state actually is potentially going to be offering the loans to do this as well for those folks.
Right.
So by offsetting the taxes, it helps them keep their costs down each month, mortgage tax.
They own the
utilities.
trailers, they own the property, so now they're gonna own the
So-
modulars.
Well, wait a minute, that's the first I've heard of this. They're manufactured homes, they're not modular.
I believe they're gonna be.
They're regulated differently and the approval is not for modular.
In
I
the
believe
meeting
they're
that I was in with him,
trailers.
they're trailers.
They're not-
So they're manufactured homes. Modular homes are something different.
Correct.
Right.
Right, so they're
Thank you for that
trailers. They're new trailers that are gonna be going on lots that already are being
Okay.
existed. And that's what, so that, but there is a cost, and that cost is then gonna be handed down to those folks that live
What
there.
if they don't want it?
They don't have to. They can stay in their home. That's the last I haven't had a meeting with them in 6 months.
Yeah, it's a long time that we talked to them.
So
And they were gonna redo the roads and everything.
They
So
do.
those
Well,
are horrendous.
that's another problem. Because that's
And they're
in lieu of
private
taxes,
roads now.
now we're taking over the responsibility of the
Right,
maintenance of the road.
that's private roads
So
right now.
there's a lot going on.
Not ours.
So like Matt said, we should sit down and
So
discuss.
this is definitely nothing that I would anticipate you guys doing a vote on
Not,
even
not
next
this,
month.
no. This is what it's going to be.
There needs to be a lot looked at, and I definitely want to review it further myself. And all of you should be reviewing it so that there can be some in-depth discussions as to.
Matt, I would advise you to review the what Mr. Quigley did, because I don't think they necessarily did the 40-year without getting something out of it.
Well, he did 40 years.
I know, but I'm saying,
I'm gonna reach out to.
potentially could have brought it up to whatever the value is once it's done, start there, and then give me 2% over the 40 years. So we're not gonna be assessing this property value at this point in time and then going 2%. I wanna know what it's gonna cost when it's completed, get full bill.
Right.
And then we assess based on that, and then you go 40 years at 2%.
You go to, go back.
Or, I mean, certainly in favor of affordable housing.
But,
Right,
but
but
not,
I
but
want
not,
to understand all of the
But you-
details.
but not if we have to do the road either. That's a huge
No, but
expense.
it is basically is,
Well,
That
I would
road-
say,
that
I
road's
would
on
say,
our
why
side.
don't everyone read this before
Right.
we have discussion?
Right, yeah, right.
It still has to go in front of the school district also.
Yeah, there's a lot of approvals, planning board, it's gotta be referred to the county planning board.
That's funny, because I know that used to have, they wouldn't let kids up there.
speak, I go.
No, no, the guy before.
All right, so just, what I'll do is I'll make sure tomorrow, I'll send a copy of this to everybody. Okay, Memorial Day Grand Marshal,
I don't have one.
you need one. Last time it was, Doug, I need.
So this year, we're Old Hurley, so we go West Hurley, Old Hurley. So, yeah, so we're looking for somebody that potentially was fill a bill for our grand marshal. You know, it's somebody that's volunteered for many years, or somebody that's, done things for the town of Hurley on many different levels. It doesn't.
I think we have more now, so passed away
Oh,
2 weeks ago.
what about the gentleman that was on the lawnmower? Like, what's his name?
Oh, he's still in the hospital.
Still in the
Yeah,
hospital.
yeah.
Winterfield, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so we have to get on that rather quickly. It's the most important. So if anybody has any, I know we were talking about a couple, I think a couple of the persons that we spoke about had already got it. I love you. I want to give it to you again. But,
If anyone in the public has any, recommendations or anyone they want to nominate,
yeah, we should put it on social media. We can put that up there.
Yeah, we could do an online nomination thing or something that's, connect to, I'll have it send it to your email address, John.
Yeah, you can use mine.
Yeah, I'll put something up tomorrow.
Thank you.
And you want them to be from the Old Hurley side, we should say that
Specific.
because I'll explain that we alternate.
Kind of explain that though, so we don't.
Right, so it doesn't look like we're playing favorites, right?
We rotate.
We don't like West Hurley. We gotta be from this side.
There's a lot of folks there.
Yeah, we'll be very clear that we alternate.
Thank you.
All right, next thing here is bookkeeping. He has his post office, the cover, I think the next four are yours. Diana,
That's 4. No, 2.
2. Next 2, all right.
There we go.
Yes, we gotta support the public post office. Keep your hands off. You don't want privatization. Don't take tax dollars. I just want to do this because then we can duplicate this and I can get towns all over doing this across the country.
Good idea.
Because they need to know that everybody wants their post office. And what it is they want to privatize because they want the parcels, because there are companies making a fortune with parcels. And if they take our parcels, we can't afford to keep the retail offices. Because you're not making any money selling a stamp, a letter to go from here to Alaska. Nobody's taking that over. They're only gonna take parcels. So then you won't be able to have this anymore.
Yeah.
Because there'll be no money to run it. Great Britain, when they privatized stamps for $2 a piece and they get delivered 2 days a week. There's no money.
Yep.
So. Yes, this will be great.
And I believe also the postmaster just resigned.
Yeah. and that's
Lewis DeJoy,
only because Tom told them, because DeJoy did not want to privatize. we hated Detroit as my local, the clerks, because we don't like the fact that, like, we don't get nightly pickup over here. There's nobody other than Kingston and Red Hook, in this whole district that get nightly pickup. Everything sits till the next day. That's him. But he didn't want to privatize it. Trump was, no, he was going to privatize that post office you're at. So the bad news is that Trump gets 5 out of the 9 picks plus a postmaster general. So we could pick people that want to privatize. It still has to go to Congress, but we just need the public to speak up, to say, we don't want privatization. Keep it as a service. It belongs to the public.
So may I ask a question? As a layman, I read this and I didn't know what on earth you were talking about. And then when you described it just now, it made more sense. Can't this be worded in a way that a person would read it and say, oh, this is what this is about? I had no idea what this is about. So you're saying this is about land and not private?
No, it's about the mail itself. The mail belongs, we do it as a service, not as a business.
Right, the
So
title.
we're not making a profit on it. We break even. So they want to privatize, and like have UPS and FedEx just do all our parcels, not the post office, because they want the money.
So that description is understandable. This doesn't mean anything in the same way. I'm just saying, as layman reading this, I don't know what on earth you're trying to do here.
That's why you were at the meeting. So this format, how this is based on what every municipality basically in the country is doing. So I'm sure this is verbatim. And
Well, I mean, it can be changed.
so based on this is what Congress would need in all municipalities to show the support in order to keep the force on. But
Right,
you got details.
right, it just. This country, 250 years old. It's billionaires that want the parcels. And we're just saying,
It's just a declaration.
right, we're just saying defend it as a public service.
We want to keep it in public service.
What we do with this, Kathy, this, you get submitted to our Congress people.
Right.
You know, and they hold it there. So in other words, it kind of goes to both senators and also both Congress. Men.
And we don't own most of the buildings, but the buildings that we do own, Wells Fargo, 2 weeks ago already put out, we want the real estate. So Beacon, if you've ever seen the Beacon post office, we own that one. Liberty Street on Newburgh, we own that one. So we don't own a lot of them, but the ones we own are nice. Rhinebeck, with all the murals, we own it. They want it. And that's bad, because that means that they're gonna get displaced the office.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to reword it? The way it is?
I think it needs to be.
I think
Yeah.
it's clarity.
Right.
All right.
But it's just we're just gonna give it to Congress so they can say, hey, we got this, these resolutions. It's supporting keeping it as a public service.
All right.
So
I make a motion. Make a motion.
You motion.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, everybody.
One
Of course, that's.
One absent.
All right, next one is,
Social Security one.
And I spent an hour coming up with my own, and then I wanted to look up information. They already had theirs already on. I was like, okay, there's a little bit longer than mine, but Social Security is so important. And Pat Ryan did get to keep
Kissing.
the Poughkeepsie office for now, but they are getting rid of, you can't, call? Are you kidding me?
Right.
And he may have just saved Poughkeepsie, but I'm sure that Mike Lawler didn't save White Plains.
Yeah.
So, you're still gonna have the big long lines going on, and they want us to go to Middletown. It's 128 miles from here to go to Middletown. So it's just very important that we, again, just pass it on to Pat Ryan and Josh Riley so they can bring it on to say, you know what, the public wants you to leave Social Security. Look, they have a less than 1% operating overhead.
Yeah.
They have been, it's been in trouble because nobody's been funding it for for a long time. But you don't fix it by making it private. And the problem is there's a lot of money there, and we do not want those people to have that money.
Exactly.
This is the money that we've earned. And I don't know if you heard much, the commerce guy, what's his name? What he said that,
He is on one, this is.
right, if you miss, if we don't give you a payment 1 month, you shouldn't say anything, because if you do say something, then you're fraud.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize, most people, this is all they get. This is it. You know, I don't know what they think that people to live with. This is a billionaire. You're like, my mother-in-law wouldn't say anything. Well, of course not. You know?
Yeah.
But for the most people, this is a big part of their income. This is how they're surviving. So we do not want them going in there and just, oh, let's just shut it off for a month and see what happens. It's nuts.
I agree. I agree.
So this is not just to save the buildings, this is about social security in general.
Right. Yeah, this is actually right from their social security site. I was looking up to see what, I wanted to figure how many they were doing a day. Because here's the other thing, baby boomers, 10,000 new people a day, and yet you're gonna cut the staff? Like, this is, you've got more claims down than you've ever had. So why are you cutting down the staff?
This resolution is for 3 acts, based on 3 acts. So you have keeping up field offices, which is what you're referring to, protecting American Social Security Data Act, which is what you're saying, and the Social Security Expansion Act. So those 3 things are what you're saying. That's all I'm saying.
And,
Yeah, so, all right.
so I'll make a motion that we pass this
Yeah.
resolution to save the American Social Security Administration.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, Matthew,
Okay.
can we do something? I know Lynn's not here. Can we, these 2 resolutions that are here, can we get them certified tomorrow? So we can send them out right away, because this has to be done real quickly before.
Yeah.
I'm not here tomorrow.
Okay, I'll ask Stephanie. Stephanie, she can do it, right? She has the keys too.
I don't know that she's done it before.
Well,
I know I've done it in Lynn's absence.
And you're here Thursday?
I'm here Thursday morning and Friday morning.
All right, so we'll get them, if Stephanie
If you
can't do
can't
it,
do it tomorrow, do
We'll do
it
it
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be in Pat Ryan's office in DC on Thursday.
so we'll make sure.
So, well, even, I'll just tell them what's coming.
Doesn't this need to go to Joshua Riley? Because he's early
Yeah.
Right, but I'm gonna give them both.
Okay.
But I actually have the appointment with Pat Ryan and Josh Riley's office with him.
Okay, so it's 4 votes, 0.
4-0.
One abstain, one absent.
I'll just let them know it's coming.
Okay,
And last month I did tell you I want to do the VA, but I wanted to talk to Pat and make sure I've got all the stuff in there, because I don't know enough about the VA. But then next month will be a VA one, because those, we did lose those 20 beds. So, probably to get it back.
okay, next one is the resolution.
Does the highway charge us for this?
I don't know.
So no, so what we do is we have requested the highway to do the job, and then they bill us back. Man hours, yes. In a way they. You'll just get that back. Mike takes care of how he bills back to town.
Okay.
But he needs permission from the board in order to go take those trees that are dead behind the basketball court, chip them so that we can use them out front for our fresh mulch.
And where does that come, at what fund does that come out of when they pay that?
So we're talking about the highway guys doing the chipping, removing the dead trees and chipping them up. So when you,
I'm hearing about it.
we talked about it outside. First you're hearing about it, but you're half deaf. So when we were outside, you said you have the trees behind the basketball court that are dead all the time.
Oh, up the park. I thought you were talking about out here.
No. We're gonna use that for the mulch for the beds though. When you chip them.
Yeah, I might have mulch already coming from, Andrew Doyle. I talked to him tonight.
Okay.
He does, he's doing.
So the question is if we request you to do the job and then you bill back the town, out of those funds, that comes back to what? How does it get paid back to the guys?
We do something at the park and, just the forced labor. I don't charge for doing that, just forced labor.
Okay, all right, that's part of the park.
But again, if that's gonna be part of the clearing for the property
Potentially.
for the garage, then it's no point.
But, so you know what, here's the thing.
But either way, we'll get you pine chips for the
Everything is
mulch.
Okay,
Tell me you want to do it. I was getting mulch from someplace else. So you guys decide if you want to allow them to do it.
So we might not need.
That's what you're saying.
Do what? Do you need this one to get all the mulch, or do you have?
You need a resolution to take the trees, remove them, chip them for
Or
mulch,
do you
right?
have mulch from someplace else?
If you guys want me to do that, otherwise I can just have Andrew do it from one of his jobs, he can come from mulch down here.
For free?
Yeah.
So then, yeah, so then.
One
then
way
we
or
don't
the
need
other,
this
I will
one.
get
Cross
you.
cross that one out.
Fine,
Freeze
free.
them.
But if you want us to remove, it's a
No,
safety,
here's the thing.
it's a safety issue.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is
Yeah.
down 2 years ago.
But the thing is, though, like, yeah, we are gonna be working on the new garage behind there. So when we take those trees down for the new garage, we'll chip that away also, the dead trees behind the basketball courts.
Save it for future use.
Yes.
If they get the alienation and town, like, goes forward, we're gonna clear that
We're gonna
over.
create the whole thing. So we can do it then.
That's a moot point.
Okay. All right, so we're just gonna, you know,
Yeah, cross that one out.
I had
Chris,
better
all right.
speakers and better microphones, I might be able to hear better here.
you can come closer.
ADA compliant.
We can get your hair when they go.
No, it's not.
You know what?
Speaker system. We'll go along like. Not his for me, but for many of the others,
With the,
closed captioning is always sporadic.
Yeah.
Right, and I jump back and forth because I also have to show resolutions.
Okay, the next one is,
Did you want that?
No,
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 we don't.
it's,
no, we crossed it.
Okay.
Next one is authorized highway superintendent to purchase materials for Joyce Lane's drainage project.
I'll make that
Joyce
motion.
Lane and Arnold.
I'll second.
And on, that's, I know.
I made the motion.
And
And
I
I
seconded
seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
That was quick.
All in favor, none opposed.
Yes.
And Gregory absent. No question.
And this will come out of, capital 14H.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah, 'cause
the
we had talked
stormwater.
about this already.
The stormwater. Okay, next one is 84 Cedar Street. 84 Cedar Street.
Oh, this is West Shirley.
Yeah. Okay, Paul?
Yes.
You want to talk about 84 Cedar Street?
84 Cedar Street is a derelict house. The roof is about 50% gone. It took a little doing. It had power cut to the building.
Power was still on?
Power was still on. I contacted Central Hudson 3 times and basically demanded that they retire the service. So they did. They were really not responsive.
We have a contact now.
At Central Hudson,
Oh, yeah. He likes my guy.
probably better than mine then. The
Well,
the ones I owned were all retired, so.
Hey, we called him today. Half hour later, he was here.
I think he's afraid of us.
Okay. Next time I'm gonna refer to you then. So that said, the house and the grounds are in very bad condition. There's 5 junk vehicles, gas cans, combustibles, appliances, tires. It's a
Yeah, we
mess.
still, I think we saw the pictures last
Yes,
time.
yeah,
right? Where we saw the
pictures.
pictures.
The pictures don't even do it justice. I don't want to go in the building because I don't believe it's safe. I'm gonna have to waive the asbestos survey requirement because I don't believe safe for a person to go in and take 70 or 80 samples. The town board, I'm recommending act on this one quickly because it's it's probably the most dangerous building in Hurley right now. It's really bad, far worse than Alice Tank.
and no contact with the family. I understood there was.
There's one owner, who is not current on the taxes. I did send certified mail return receipt, said no longer at that address, but it's the West Philly address, no forwarding address.
This is the public
And it
hearing.
is behind
Clean
that.
up the area.
Paul, other shingles on that asbestos, correct?
There's probably asbestos in the house, the shingles I couldn't say. When I looked at it was covered with snow, I couldn't get a good idea what the shingles were.
Say again?
But I'm gonna say there's probably a highly likelihood that there's asbestos.
Paul, are you aware, is the taxes coming?
No, delinquent in their taxes.
So we can actually do a foreclosure notice.
Well, now, as 3 years, it's got the 3 years. And that's an in round proceeding, but that would be something that discussed with research.
3 years ago.
So we'll, all right.
Well, the foreclosure notices from the county can be coming out in the next month anyway.
Yes.
I don't know how delinquent this house is on the taxes, but it's been vacant for years. And, it's, I mean, the place could go, and anything could ignite the house. It's dangerous.
Well, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
All right.
I'll motion this.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All present in favor, one absent.
This might have a reflect the assessor run the taxes and see how full it is. If it's up 3 years, you're gonna potentially see how full it is. So it should take action.
See it on the what?
County court central auction.
We all want that. It's self-owned.
But if they, okay, good question. If they foreclose it, that takes away from us then, right?
Yes.
So now
But
it's
the thing
their,
is that process is going to take a lot longer than this procedure. If, so you guys have basically said that it's unsafe, you're setting up this hearing, as long as the procedures are followed precisely for this hearing and the additional notices, then you guys would be empowered to potentially act, get rid of the dangerous, unsafe building or do something else to, address it. And, put that on, so it means on the property. So basically levy it against the property, but at the cost of town.
Right, since the board being aware, you're now liable, so you have to take action.
Right. Oh, public hearing next,
Second.
next month.
next month. 22nd?
22nd.
That's your choice.
Yeah,
That's what it said.
the eighth and the
The one that,
twenty-second.
you know, meeting here.
And just, there are certain notice requirements for the public hearing, not only again, another posting at the property and sent to any property owners, but also filing with the Ulster County Clerk's Office as well.
You said it like. So next time we do.
Yeah, the 22nd. That was, I did have a question on.
When is it public hearing? The 8th or the 22nd?
February 22nd,
At 7 PM.
or no, February.
9:30, right?
April 22nd.
I heard you.
Debbie, who's preparing the public notice for that?
It's gonna have to be,
The clerk.
All right, I just need to get a copy to post on the building.
Will the clerk's office please do that?
Yeah, the
But it's
clerk's
called- it is
office definitely can do that, but if someone shoots me an email, I can adjust, I didn't
all right.
work on.
Okay.
I'll put that for the last one, so.
All right, so I'll send you.
Um, I think that's when the first, yeah. Yeah. this next one here, yeah.
This is the resolution to provide, we can't vote that.
Oh, you can't vote.
We only have two.
Oh, okay, so this has to wait till the next one.
We
Okay.
have to table this.
The grant, okay.
The
This is the library.
library board.
So,
Yep.
can I make a motion?
Take a motion to table.
Am I second?
You don't need a
Well,
motion.
you guys don't need
don't
a
have a
motion, nor do you have a quorum to act in any way. So
You can't-
basically, it's just being
you can't make a motion
tabled,
to table.
it's just being automatically tabled to the next.
Just want to make sure. Process.
Okay. The next one is a resolution to reconcile line A1320.4, the accountant contractual. Be resolved by the town board of the town of Herb that the town will move $30,000 from A1990 contingency to A1320.4. This is the accountant CEO contractual for accounting services for RVT CPAs, the town financial auditor. New balance for Fund Line A1990 will be 10,000, and the new balance line for Fund Line A1320.4 is 22,381.03. The reason we're doing this is because that budget line is negative.
Right.
I'll
Okay,
second.
yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I will give it to you tomorrow, sir.
So who's second?
Uh,
I did.
Diana.
Mike.
Like that.
All right. The next one is financial.
Audits.
All right. This is something that's very, very disturbing. The year so far, the town board has asked us to do an audit on the 2023 budget. We have had issues, and I just want to go through it. I want to read it. I want to read this to it. And basically, it says the following: resolution to conduct a financial audit for the town of Hurley. Whereas the town of Hurley has found that there were serious concerns with regard to the town's fiscal oversight during the years of 2022 and 2023, including significant overspending, persistent misuse of dedicated capital funds to pay for operational funds, including attorney fees of private contractors, non-payment of town bills for up to 2 years, dismissal of Hurley's standing accounting agency without an adequate resource to replace them, lack of any detailed financials during a 6-month period in 2023, reduction in Hurley's fund reserves for the first time ever, misleading information showing account surpluses when accounts were actually in the negative, inability to conclusively reconcile Hurley's financials by 2 outside independent sources during his lifetime. The 2 independent sources were Jim Quigley and RBT. They could not get this thing. On February 3rd, 2024, the town clerk and supervisor contacted the office of the state controller to request an extension in submitting the 2023 annual financial review. The decision day at that time was March 31st of 2023, and due to the financial accounting being incomplete and the total disarray, the deadline was extended for 2 additional months. In addition, the state controller's office required the town to recreate the entire 2023 budget, match up vouchers with invoices, research the legitimacy of the vendors, and then submit for an independent audit. We were then directed to do the same with the 2022 budget, since some irregularities were noted by the state controller of review of the 2022 AFR. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to 1, formally request an independent financial audit of the town's records during the 2022-2023 period by the New York State Controller's Office. 2, seek proposals for engaging an independent auditor to reconcile years 2022 and 2023 Hurley financials.
And I'm gonna second
No,
that.
I'm just, before you make did you make a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, just, wording wise, it seems like this second paragraph after the bullet points, is that a second whereas? So
Whereas, eventually whereas.
So if you want to.
Oh, whereas.
Whereas on February, yes. All right, let me just, well, we have a second?
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
So we have,
but you have to,
Make a motion.
Made a motion.
To approve it.
as amended.
all right.
and then
Let's make-
we're discussing right now.
Right. Well, no, we make amendment, a motion to amend this.
Okay.
Motion to amend this, audit proposal.
We already amended it, so the motion to approve as amended.
Okay.
And
And
a
then
second, and then you have a discussion.
And I second that.
All right. What happened basically is that every year, the town board is asking us to do an audit. It's going to comply with, the state control. What was very disturbing is that, last week, speaking to Wendy Falzone, speaking to Wendy Kojak, it turns out that there were checks written in 2023 that were never cashed until 2024. All right, and therefore, because it was cashed in 2024, it was not included in the 2023 AFR. This is like actually checks totaling $10,800. All right, given to the planning board attorney. It was disturbing because now all of a sudden the deficit between what was appropriated and what was revenue is now up to $300,000 deficit. We are now, 2023 is a deficit budget coming through it, and
Do you have vouchers for those?
here's the thing, I went to look for the vouchers for that $10,800, and they are voucher number, I think it was 1115. Voucher number, I wanted to look at the voucher there, couldn't find it. And not only that I couldn't find it, there were other vouchers that were listed on the abstract that I couldn't find either. Now, they're not where they're supposed to be, which means they're either where they're not supposed to be, or just not there. You know, I'm gonna go through and go through all the vouchers in 2020 to find these vouchers, but as it is right now, I'm seeing a lot of vouchers that are there, that are listed in the abstract. The actual voucher and the invoices are not present. And not only that, though, going through it also, John and I looked through a bunch of them. We saw a lot of vouchers where you need 3 signatures in order to pay the bill. Some of them, a few had none, some had 1, some had 2. Don't do it. And this, I'm not talking about I'm talking like a large quantity going through. This is, it's absurd, to put it mildly, that something like this is being done. This is not, this should be bookkeeping 101 in a sense, and this is not bookkeeping at all. This is sloppy. This is really, in my opinion, this is a sloppy way of doing it now. And when we looked at this thing, it was just, it has to be taken care of. I read, the Napoli, he sent me an email, well, I sent out all the supervisors emails about what's going on. And I noticed in his email, there were 4 towns, 4 municipalities that are being audited. So therefore, we know they're auditing municipalities. I want to get this thing passed there. I want to send it up to the Napoli as soon as possible. Get this thing going. This has to be cleared away because we really don't even know what's going on. And in fact, what's happening right now is that, according to Wendy Falzano at RBT, there are others that have not been accounted for that are coming in 2024. You know, and what's happening basically is we're starting off 2024 with a negative balance going through, which you have to reconcile that in 2023, that negative balance, and it wasn't recognized at all. And this is disturbing. Wendy.
The only thing I would like to let the board know is realize right now we are still cleaning everything up. So I completely understand that you want this resolution, but please understand that most of the work finding it is gonna fall on me. And hopefully other help, but we are going to need bodies to locate these vouchers, to research all of this stuff, and it's gonna take time. I've been through audits with New York State Comptroller's Office. I've been through a ton of private audits. Just please be aware that it's gonna take time and it's gonna take employees to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
So whether that means we have to hire someone else to be, specifically on that task, or we have to kind of move things around, it's not budgeted for. So just realize it's gonna take a lot of manpower to do this. Because right now, I'm personally drowning. I've reached out to John Perry to help me, to just keep up with what we're doing. So please take that into consideration. I know it's the best thing for the town, but we are still trying to get.
Oh, yeah,
We have to do
Yeah,
it.
but here's the thing.
I'm not, we don't. I'm just saying, please be aware.
Yes.
Because
Just say, make sure that we, but.
if you understand, it's, right. That's
Here's the
exactly.
thing, Wendy, here's the thing. When I spoke to you about getting an audit on this by the state, all we have to do basically is send up our votes, which we have.
Well, we have to
someone-
find.
Right, but here's the thing also, and then send up all the vouchers and the invoices. And we have that here, except for those that are missing.
Do you know where 22 is? Because I
No,
don't.
I don't know 22. I have 2023.
I know you have 2023, but I don't even know where 2022 is.
It's in the vault.
So that's what I'm saying. In order to be able to send the information to the comptroller's office, we have to have the manpower to locate it. Because they may tell you that's what they're gonna ask for. They're gonna come out with a vengeance.
Yeah.
It's not currently scanned, but it will need to be scanned. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not being negative. I'm not saying
Yeah.
we don't need to do it. Just understand, we will need the bodies to do the work.
Well, the thing is, what I want to do is I want to send this up to the Napoli, and then wait his response. It's like what is needed more or less from that kind of thing. And I'd like to do is, to be very honest with you, we've already spent something like $60,000 right now in employees in RBT and Wendy and John, their salaries, getting the 2023 budget recreated. And it's still incomplete.
And we're finding problems, still trying to fix things in 24 that that weren't necessarily done correctly. So we are moving forward in a great direction. But
Yes.
just understand, it takes time and it is going to take manpower.
So just contact the college to see if you get interns.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Contact too?
The college.
So, just for clarity, in the resolution, I formally request the independent financial audit of the town records during the 22-2. You're just requesting 2022 through 2023. I think you wanted to say 2022 and 2023.
And also, having the town authorize the supervisor to do these things listed. So basically, be it resolved, by the town board of the town of Hurley to who's going to be formally requesting?
Aye.
Okay, so
So
you're
for the town
resolving, the
supervisor.
board's resolving to authorize the town supervisor to formally request and make the change now to 2022 and 2020 for the
Instead of,
year.
yeah.
Council
Now
President,
motion.
authorize statute to.
Yeah, so here. The town temporarily to authorize the town supervisor to colon 1 and 2. And you have 1 and 2 listed.
I make a motion to, accept this amended as stated.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I add one thing. We also should probably sit down and make sure that we have current policies and procedures in place. I have most of them, but we really should make sure that the board is aware of what we're doing currently, because the first thing they're gonna come in and say is, what are you doing currently? So let's make sure we're doing things right. Let's get all that straight, and then, you know, that way they can't say anything bad about right now. They can just really focus on the past. Because we do have some policies and procedures that I think we need to kind of review. I don't know that I've even really seen a policy or procedure book related to anything in the accounting area. So if anybody has that, that might be something great to pass
Remember,
on.
we didn't, you know, our used to do it all, so she got rid of them. So
That's what I'm saying.
We don't have any.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So we better put something in place in writing, and we can get tons of those samples offline, off the New York State Comptroller's website. It's easy. But let's sit down, let's create a book, just so we have ourselves covered.
Good idea.
Who's gonna do that?
But even in the clerk's office, there was no how-to manual. There's a clerk's book that doesn't give you any day-to-day how to do it. Right? And Stephanie and I basically had to reinvent the wheel. And I guess that's what you're gonna be doing next.
I guess so.
Well, I would consult with the Association of Towns. They have a lot of resources around this.
Right.
And also GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board, is the set of guidelines that should be being followed. Just like in private business, it's
You'll
FASB,
get hold of it?
Financial Accounting Standards.
Good idea.
Those two things should be your guidance.
But the day-to-day isn't in the big books.
Right.
But you know, but Diane is correct.
Process documented internally.
For 30 years or so, we've been using this bookkeeper, and they did the procedure. We just had the whole thing. So for us, you know, once they were removed and an internal bookkeeper came there, process and procedure should have been done then.
That is exactly it.
And that wasn't done.
So let's get that done, so we're
So that
covered.
needs to get done.
I will talk to the Association of Towns tomorrow and see exactly how to do that.
And I have some great sources, so we'll make
You're
it
gonna find out what he,
Right.
I am.
and Jim Goodman, he's done. No,
He just listening. He's,
Yeah.
I will.
Well, we gotta go about this.
As amended.
So we just made a motion. Nothing, we had a discussion. Any other further discussion? I make a motion made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You did it.
all in favor for all those present.
Present. Still one absent.
Okay.
We got 4 left.
This one here, authorizing approval of the memorandum of agreement, MOA with the UPSU, the general unit collective bargaining unit. And basically what this is a 2% pay increase across the board.
I'll second, just a second.
I'm not that, you've all, you've seen this? All right. Is there a second? I make a motion
So
to,
this is just for the 2% increase.
the 2 cents increase public, so
Which is not enough in here. Okay.
and if you look at the next page, there's, there's, All right,
So there's no increase this year.
this is,
Oh,
This is 2025.
So these,
24 and 25.
another 25 is a 2% increase.
yes,
They did not do another one. Right.
So just so we're aware, so it's on the budget stands,
Right.
that's how we did it.
yes.
So everybody's just covered by the contract.
I know how to address it. Okay. Thank you.
We're going to meet again August 4th, 2025, 2026.
But those are not budgeted for 25, you know that.
No, I should do that in for the 25 budget.
Right, but what currently in 25, so there will be no money. Like you did not.
Well, that's
budget.
what I'm saying.
You didn't budget.
You gave me
You didn't
2%
budget for
increase
those
this year.
This year.
Yes, and it's retro back to January 1st, and it's not budgeted.
Okay, there's a motion. All right.
Anyone second it?
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Just for part-time.
The division plan is for part-timers. Yes. The $250 reimbursement. Now,
I know, but this is just a 2% increase. Okay.
all right, so, I guess that allows me to sign this contract.
Yes.
Okay, next one. You know, Joe,
So this next resolution, as we all know, there's shortages in housing. The cost to actually live based on mortgages and rents are more than 30%. So the goal is really to join this Ulster County Housing Smart Community Initiative so that we can work as a town to have more housing available and more affordable housing available. Based on what the gentleman last meeting stated, $80,000 would be considered the lowest amount for Hurley. Yeah, for the town of Hurley. To be considered affordable housing, which the reality is most people aren't even making that. If you count seniors and if you count people with working for bare minimum wage. So this is to say, yes, we want to join that initiative, as many other towns have done already, and that we want to work on these ideas to pay no more than 30% of the monthly income, to have affordable housing options, to have diverse housing opportunities, as well as working towards a proper housing solution for this area, so that all members of our community can actually be able to live comfortably and own property, or at least find a place to rent. So this is what the resolution is being brought forward. Oh, yeah, and hopefully, once I know when the next meeting is, we can really get updated, and so I can get there and discuss what the county's doing, and as well as
you need the contact information, Kai
Yeah.
Palmer.
yeah.
I'll send it to you.
So does it help existing people with low income living in houses they can't afford, or does it help pay their taxes, or does it create new homes?
Well, the idea is to create new homes that are affordable.
So, for example, I make $20 an hour, I live in Hurley, I'm part-time, it's $1,000 hours a year. So my wage is what, 20,000 a year.
So you're definitely in pilot.
So I should,
You should be able to have the opportunity, it's fine.
my housing altogether should be less than $6,000 a year for a third of it.
Sure.
Yes, you're moving to a 10.
You know, the reason why this is important right now, there is talk of development in the town of Hurley. There are large parcels being considered for development around Hurley. And so I think this is something we need to stress and get this, they will help us in devising plans for developers. You know, and also perhaps even going through and changing the code, zoning code a bit, to make it where we do have affordable housing, you know, in town of Hurley.
The fact that he says it could take up to 18 months is a little disturbing. You have people that can barely survive that.
Well, the thing is, though, problem with Hurley, the average income per family is 85,000, and that's skewed because you have people living, you know, in like $1 million homes, $5 million homes here, making that much money. I mean, it's skewed because it should be lower than that. We have a large proportion of people that live on fixed incomes.
I just gave you an example.
You're one of them. Yeah.
My wages are $20,000 a year.
Yeah. We have a lot of seniors living on pensions here.
That's half of that.
If you live on Social Security, you're not gonna have enough money.
Yeah. So this is like working with Ty Farmer, which kind of basically he's gonna come in and give us a input on like how we can talk to developers. So
Every other
it's too much,
town.
yeah, it's too much to do this kind of thing. in order to
This,
get
this is more for going forward with new development.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yes.
Right.
Just want to make sure everybody's clear.
Right. You made a motion, right?
I'm making a motion.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, Gary's listening all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing is resolution to hire Martina Jarvis as a full-time municipal code officer, building inspector one. Whereas the town of Hurley Building Department has a vacancy for the position of building inspector, and whereas Martina Jarvis possesses the necessary qualifications and experience to effectively perform the duties of building inspector, therefore be resolved by the town board of Hurley to appoint Martina Jarvis to the full-time position of municipal code officer, building inspector one, civil service, $44.30, competitive, at the hourly rate of $32 per hour for 40 hours per week, 2,080 hours annually, budget code 83620.1 for $66,560. Be it further resolved that the terms and conditions of employment for the municipal code officer and building inspector one shall be outlined in the general unit collective bargaining CBA of the town's handbook. I make a motion. That's the resolution.
Hold on. When is,
I'm sorry, what?
when is the effective date?
It's gonna be probably in mid-April.
You need to have that in here.
Well, the thing is, she needs to give 2 weeks' notice.
I know, I understand.
You can add it in.
You should have a date. I don't know, Matt, what do you think?
Seems like date of employment.
Which is not sure.
Yeah, has there been, is an agreed upon date in there?
Well, once we, I guess, because once we approve it, in that sense, she will then give her 2 weeks' notice.
Realize she's gonna
They're
get.
just-
Wait.
There's one caveat to that. She hasn't received medical clearance to return to work yet. She expects to receive that on April 1st, in which case immediately after she says you can give her notice.
Okay.
So you'd be looking at mid-April at the earliest.
I do want, we're in discussion now, or?
You're in discussion.
We're in discussion. 3 people came to me for a reference, as a reference for her. And all 3 people, I value their opinion highly. One is Matt Jankowski, who works with her in Kingston. The other one was Harold Castellano, who is a former worker here. And the other one is Clark. What's Clark's last name?
Campbell.
Kimball also. And those 3, to me, is fine. I spoke to 2 other candidates. about this. One was certified in all the fields there. All right, but he only wanted to work for a year. You know, the other one is not certified at all, but he was a good candidate, but she is certified. And the people I spoke to about Martina, the praise was outrageous. It was just, you know, it was just. I value that.
She's local. Local, she's
And she's local, right? Well, she's from Hudson. But the thing is, like, I don't know. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Did I?
So who seconds it?
I didn't get a second.
I'll second it.
It's your turn.
It's much.
All in favor? Aye. Abstention? Nay, anything? Okay.
13.
Who wants to smile?
Okay,
There's one more resolution.
all right. All right, let's do the following thing. We have one more resolution. We are going to go into executive session shortly. What I'd like to do is open up public comment number 2 at this point.
You have that last resolution.
Aye.
Right now.
I will. All present.
Thank you.
Aye. You got to turn it on.
I think it's on, just kind of like.
Yep, you're fine. My name is Riley Green. I live at Mountain View Avenue in Old Hurley. And I want to applaud the board for approving the resolution on the financial audit for the town. We've been hearing about the financial mess that the last administration left. We heard about that there were surpluses, there was money, it was all things were coming up roses. But it turns out, and was known quite quickly in this new administration, that there was a big mess that was left. And I still think there could even be questions as to legal questions, not just general bookkeeping issues that should be considered in the review. But I am pleased to know that we're going to finally get down to the bottom of it by asking Denopoli, the state controller, to take a look at it. And if they take a pass, you're getting an RFP and asking some private accounting firm to take a deep look at this. And unfortunately, this is going to cost, this financial mess is going to cost our town a lot of money. A lot of money. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your decision.
Michael?
You know me, I always gotta say something when there's a microphone in the room. When I used to go and do the probation conferences, they used to take it away from me. But anyway, I want to thank some of our volunteers. We had a horrific experience this past week. We lost a couple of our residents, and I ran into you folks up there. We were up helping to traffic control. The volunteers just did a tremendous job. It was a tough situation for all. So I just want to say thank you.
You're here.
For all the volunteers. Secondly, I'd like to applaud the resolution to do a forensic audit, because I'll tell you, as a former town supervisor, 06 and 07, I was the financial in charge of all the finance of the town as a budget officer, everything else. Keenly, I did all the budgets like John did, just like you did. I was keenly involved in it, so I understand it fully more than the average resident would. But what I saw in the last years, I think we need to get it done, because I have no clue of what my budget did compared to what I kept track of and what was told to me in resolutions at the year-end audit meetings. So, I hope that some of these monies can be recovered and help put it in 3H fund to help offset the cost of the trucks that we're purchasing. And I'd just like to thank the board for taking the initiative to get it done, and so that we know what's going on. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Anybody else wish to speak?
I'm sorry.
Your name?
On Wyatch. I know there was RFP for home accounts for the town of Hurley. When will they be discussed? I know that they had a deadline of last week. That was
Yeah, we
some
have-
state to be.
We can open it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
When will that be available for public knowledge?
Around, figure around noon
Is that on the website?
on the website, yeah. We have 3. Yeah, we'll get it up tomorrow by noon. Yeah, let's go.
Any other? comments from the public?
Thank you for all you do.
So next time, right? So
I think it's Taco Tuesday, right?
I hope for that.
Oh, wait, John, make a motion to cover public comment number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
You close it?
John's got some recommendations. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just make it brief. So we have the RFP for the fences and the gates were ordered. So we'll be working on connecting and finishing the gate at the town park. So that'll be secure. RFQs went out for the water fountain and water filter system at the park. So there's a rail trail meeting April 3rd. I'm going to be sitting on that meeting so we can discuss what's going on with the rail trail here on 209. I know their volunteers have become shorter, smaller, and I'm going to see if they want to be more involved with maybe the recreation department. Maybe we can work together, being that it is a linear park. So, and amongst other things we're going to talk about. Work on a field. So we discussed in our last rec meeting, I'm going to have this sod and the topsoil and the grass you put down mid-June. So that's what the board decided as far as the time of the year for growth. I'm going to be working on an AED. The county just put out second rounds of grants for AEDs. So we're going to try to get one for the park. We have one youth group that is having a hard time getting multiple AEDs because they're in multiple different parks. So if the town can provide one of those and just have it up there, maybe a lock box or something where we can have it, it'll always be there. We spoke a little bit about Ribbon Park, so I just want to let you know the highway came down, they cleaned up the gravel, all the blacktop that was broken up, all the posts and stuff. And we're going to be working on the landscaping and finish up that over the next couple of weeks. So. Last soup day. So they're in my car.
Okay.
One thing to apply, we spoke to the rest of them. Spoke to, Vincent Nugent.
Okay.
Nugent, we gave them $1,800.
And when are they doing that?
That's what I want to find out.
Okay. And the other, he's on the rail trail committee. I think he was doing that as a volunteer.
Right.
I'll see. Maybe, Ralph knows.
Yeah, and the other one is, we have the 3 kiosks.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that is, we places to put placements. And, the highway department said they will put it
In the ground.
in the ground.
Okay.
Right now, they're sitting in the town, the highway garage.
Okay. There is. Yeah, there is. It just came out a couple days ago in the paper, so I'm gonna start working on that tomorrow.
Okay.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Also, there was a request from the clerk to go to a 4-day Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4-day training at Syracuse in the amount of $1,000 and change plus costs and such. I did research other areas in which she could potentially get these. So she missed the easiest one on this side would have been right around tax season, which is the hardest time. So by speaking to the head of the Ulster County clerks, she's going to be going to this, and she's going to be bringing back all the research and literature and then presenting it at the clerks meetings. As far as she knows, she's the only one going from this area, which is kind of normal, because it is very expensive. That budget line went from $750 last year to $1,500 this year. So for me to give her $1,000 to go to school and then there's only $500 for the rest of the town's folks for education, I can't I can't personally. Y'all can decide, but we would need to know pretty quickly. But there are other avenues in which she can find out and figure this out. And next year, I'll put it in there for the 1,000 and I'll allocate it specifically for the clerk.
Yeah, I read your emails on that.
Okay.
With the town clerk that's going there. I think to me, that's efficient.
There's webinars, there's multiple local ones that come up randomly that she can attend. The hardest part of her job is taxes and charity growth. So now the rest of it's, stuff, for example, but any of that stuff is very accessible, to all the other clerks in the county. You're much like supervisors. You call them up, hey, I have a problem, this is going on. They'll walk you right through it. And they meet monthly. So there's good resources for her. I just roughly allocated $1,000 to figure out for everybody else.
I think it's bi-monthly.
No,
State
it's not.
Association puts on meetings too.
Huh?
State Association,
And there's also the state association.
usually in Albany. I mean, I used to go to them.
Yeah. So there's so New York State, NYSTCA or whatever that abbreviation stands for. That's the Clerks Association for the state. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I did research. There are other opportunities and options for her. So saving time a little bit of money, and then I have no problem allocating budget for next year.
Association is handling.
That's what they said. It's webinars, the OCT, they did everything in January, February. Right online, so go on and click it. You could be doing that right now. The OCT? Oh, the old matter.
New York City was not the
For council. Yeah. Actually, you know what's big there too is,
I, John, yes. I'm making,
Crazy, that's 6 hours away.
I make a motion to, go to executive session, public works is law 105, about two matters of employment.
Leading to the appointment, employment, or promotion of.
I wanted like, Deputy Supervisor John Perry, as well as our town liaison, Alan Warrior, that Jen Casper.
My second.
All in favor?
I'm going to address you for 2 minutes. It's related to.